The Chicago Bears just made the NFL jealous today. And this coaching staff, it's shaping up to be one of the best in the whole league. And the Bears just made another huge swing. The Bears have just found their next offensive line coach. And this is according to Brad Biggs of the Chicago Tribune. The Bears are expected to hire Tulane's Chris Rousar to the position. This guy has spent the last 2 years with the Tulane Green Wave, but he was also with the New Orleans Saints from 2013 to 2022, number of positions, but most notably as the offensive line coach. And I absolutely love what Ben Johnson's doing here. He got the best guy in the market yet again. And this headline, not clickbait, guys. NFL teams, they should be jealous of this coaching staff. And this isn't even mentioning Dennis Allen and Al Harris heading up this defensive staff. And this is also a link to the coaching tree that Ben Johnson is hiring from. Because while in New Orleans, Rousar, he worked with the Lions head coach Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell was Sean Payton's assistant head coach and tight ends coach. Rousar also worked with the new Bears offensive coordinator, Declan Doyle. Declan Doyle was an offensive assistant with New Orleans. And Rousar, his hiring, it comes only 2 days after the Bears also hired former Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. Such a good coach. He's coming on as our running backs coach, if you can believe that. Just a fantastic move and experience, top-notch hire, and really the best offensive line coach on the market. And the Bears have been connected to Rousar for the last couple weeks. They haven't been in a big hurry for these assistants. They've been methodical with these hires, and they're getting them right. Let's kind of look at Rousar's career in the college ranks. College coach between 1986 to 2012. 2 stints at Illinois, 1 at Northern Illinois. He was promoted to offensive coordinator during his time in both Champaign and DeKalb. He also coached at Michigan State from 2007 to 2012. But his most recent role as a college coach, you guys know he was at Tulane. He coached the Green Waves offensive line for 2 years. And that's what I really want to get into as well, because under his guidance at Tulane, their rushing attack, little school like Tulane, their rushing attack, they performed so impressively. They ranked 26th nationally in rushing yards per game. And then let's go back to his time with the Saints. They saw him serve in multiple roles at various points. The guy coached running backs, tight ends, offensive linemen. He served as the run game coordinator even, but it was the offensive line coaching position. That's where he made just really substantial contributions. Left the Saints for Tulane, and that's after New Orleans head coach Sean Payton. He parted ways with the Saints in early 2023. But this is why we should be celebrating here. Look at this decade run with the Saints. This is why I'm so excited about this hire. And keep in mind, the Saints drafted these guys I'm going to talk about as well. So he will be valuable in that process with the Bears beyond his coaching position. He was with these players from the start, and he developed all of them. You got 4 Pro Bowlers during that time. Teron Armstead, Andrus Peat, Eric McCoy, Ryan Ramczyk, Max Unger. And then you're also looking at Larry Warford. He went to 3 straight Pro Bowls after being signed in free agency. Now, I mean, despite some struggles as a run game coordinator with the Saints, the team's rushing attack ranked lower than expected when he was over it, but his expertise in line play, absolutely unquestioned. And now he's with the Bears, tasked with revitalizing a unit that, let's be honest, it hasn't been good. We've allowed a league-high 68 sacks during this last season. Several key injuries for sure, frequent lineup changes. The personnel needs to be improved. This offensive line's development was greatly stunted by coaching, though. And Rousar's arrival expected to bring something I can't remember having. You guys let me know if you can remember this for the offensive line. Have we ever had stability and growth at this position over the last decade? Pivotal role with the Saints. Such a huge reason for the Saints' success under Sean Payton. And this guy's going to use his expertise to get things back on track here. And he may have to do so with multiple new starters at key positions across this line. And I'm going to talk about that as well. But with Rousar in the fold, the Bears have their offensive position coaches set under new head coach Ben Johnson. We now have something going here. Let's look at it. Caleb Williams, he's now going to be in a room with Ben Johnson, Antoine Randall L. Good grief. Eric Bieniemy in the mix as running backs coach. And now Dan Rousar as offensive line coach. And then you have up and coming creative minds, including Declan Doyle. So this is after we had to sit through 3 years of Chris Morgan. This is a consequential hire. And this is now where we find ourselves. We're bringing a dude on that has a reputation in the league as one of the best to ever do it. And this guy takes players, good players, and turns them into absolute studs. Darnell Wright, he should be a really happy man today. So should Karan Amagaje. He now gets a full offseason under top-notch coaching, and the Bears are going to be aggressive in not only free agency, but in the draft. Let's kind of look at a projection on that. Look at a reimagined offensive line using this method. We've got Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones at tackle, Drew Dahlman, a free agent acquisition at center, Trey Smith, swing for the fences for this guy if he hits the market, and then fill in the blanket guard, right? And we could be looking at drafting Kelvin Banks, LSU's Will Campbell. But what I really like in this situation, make a plan to draft Booker in the second out of Alabama, making these free agency moves as well on the offensive line. And with this, there's also a situation that we sign Tevin Jenkins to a super team-friendly deal and allow Booker, or even another first-round guard, Booker should fall to the second in my estimation. These young guys can develop a little bit behind him if or when he misses time, they can plug in. I wouldn't be surprised, too, if the Bears spent 2 out of the first 3 picks we have on the offensive line, and with aggression in free agency, they can properly develop young talent. And we now have top-notch coaches for Ben Johnson to lean on, get his offensive talent playing to their full ability. I could not love this move more. And with the Bears under the leadership of head coach Ben Johnson, Rousar has his extensive background in coaching offensive linemen, and he's able to play a really crucial role in improving this unit's performance. Just a fantastic experience hire. So we're looking at where we're at. Head coach Ben Johnson, the offensive line coach with Dan Rousar. That's going to be one of the most important hires that he's made. We're looking at this offensive line just being absolute garbage, major need of an overhaul. Now that we have the guy in place, let's just hear from Ben Johnson what his intention is for the line. Offensive line is certainly an area that we need to get better play from going forward, something that GM Ryan Poles and I have already talked about. And this is during his opening news conference on January 22nd. He continues with, we will develop a plan of attack for how to get that done, but I'm looking forward to getting an excellent offensive line coach in the building to help develop the young talent that we already have on this roster. And guess what? He's done it. Now we have this offensive staff pretty much laid out. We've got the core of the defensive staff laid out. Now we can actually get to player development. We can prepare for the draft. We just got done with the Senior Bowl. There's a couple of players I want to talk about from that game and from those practices. But man, I don't see any way that this isn't an absolute win. I think if you look at this coaching staff and you're another NFL team that's trying to get better, trying to build a staff, trying to contend, it's impossible not to be jealous about this. You could say we're kind of assembling an Avengers type of staff. You've heard that online as well. Huge win, you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And as always, bear down. We'll talk soon. See you guys later.